The summer sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the manicured lawn of the Peterson estate. It was supposed to be a day of celebration. Family gathered to toast a recent promotion and share laughter over barbecued ribs and chilled lemonade. But as the air thickened with tension, it became clear that the day would unravel in ways I could never have imagined. I stood near the patio, my heart racing as I clutched a glass of wine. The laughter and chatter of my family felt like a distant echo, a stark contrast to the storm brewing in my mind. My sister, Claire, was the picture of innocence, her laughter ringing out as she effortlessly captivated our parents' attention. But beneath her charming exterior lay a deep-rooted jealousy, and I knew the truth. She had been siphoning money from my savings, pretending it was a loan, but it was nothing more than theft. As I gathered my courage, the whispers of doubt crept in. Was I really prepared to confront her? But as I caught a glimpse of her smug smile, I felt a surge of determination. I had to expose her, not just for my sake, but for the integrity of our family. "Claire," I called, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. The laughter faded, and all eyes turned toward me. "Can we talk?" A flicker of surprise crossed her face, but she quickly masked it with feigned curiosity. "Sure. What's up?" I motioned for her to step aside. My heart pounded in my chest as I led her away from the gathering. The sun cast a golden hue, but my vision narrowed, focusing only on the confrontation that awaited. "Why did you take my money, Claire?" I demanded, the words spilling out before I could second-guess myself. "You've been lying to Mom and Dad. It's wrong." Her expression twisted into a mask of indignation. "I didn't take anything. You're just being dramatic. You know I needed that money for what? Your shopping spree? Or maybe to pay off the last round of credit card bills?" My voice rose, fueled by anger. "I trusted you." Her face flushed, and for a moment, I thought I saw remorse flicker in her eyes. But it vanished as quickly as it appeared, replaced by a cold, calculating look. "You're making a scene, as usual. Mom and Dad will believe me over you." My breath hitched. The truth hung heavily in the air, and I could feel the weight of their expectations pressing down on me. I couldn't back down now. "I won't let you manipulate me anymore, Claire. I'm going to tell them." Before I could move, she lunged forward, her hand striking my face with a force that knocked the wind from my lungs. The world spun, and for a moment, everything blurred. Gasps erupted from the gathering, and I felt their eyes on us, horror mingled with disbelief. "Enough," my husband, Mark, shouted as he rushed to my side. His eyes were fierce, filled with a protective rage. "What the hell was that?" "Stay out of this, Mark," Claire spat, her composure cracking. "This is a family matter." Mark's hand clenched into a fist, but I raised a hand to stop him. "No," I said, my voice shaking but resolute. "This isn't a family matter anymore. It's about right and wrong." "Right?" Claire laughed, a bitter sound that made my skin crawl. "You think you can expose me and get away with it? You're nothing but a jealous little girl." "Stop it," Mark shouted, stepping between us. "You can't treat her like this." I could see the pain in Mark's eyes, the hurt of seeing me attacked both physically and emotionally. I felt his warmth beside me, a stark contrast to the coldness radiating from Claire. But the moment was too raw, too charged for comfort. "Let's just go," Mark urged, taking my arm gently. "We can talk later." But my resolve hardened. I had to stand my ground. "No. I won't let her get away with this. Not anymore." I turned back to Claire, her smug facade crumbling under the weight of the truth. "You may have struck me today, but you've awakened something inside me that you won't be able to suppress. I won't be the victim anymore." The look in her eyes shifted, fear replaced the anger, a glimmer of realization dawning. I could see the cracks forming in her carefully constructed world. As I walked away, leaving my family's shocked whispers behind, I felt a dark energy coiling within me. Revenge isn't born from hatred, it rises from betrayal. And I would make sure that Claire understood the consequences of her actions, no matter the cost. Little did I know, this was just the beginning. I would transform this pain into a weapon, a calculated strike that would leave no room for forgiveness. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, I felt the thrill of the chase pulse through my veins, igniting a fire that would consume us all. The days following the family gathering were a blur of emotions: betrayal, anger, and an unsettling sense of empowerment. I spent sleepless nights replaying the scene in my mind, my sister's slap echoing louder than the laughter that once filled our family gatherings. I refused to let that moment define me. Instead, it fueled a fierce determination for revenge. I began to devise a plan, knowing I needed to strike where it would hurt Claire the most, her carefully curated image. She had built her life on the facade of success and charm, and I would shatter it. First, I collected evidence. I scoured old messages, bank statements, and emails. Claire's web of lies was intricate but not impenetrable. I found notes about our childhood that revealed the sibling rivalry she'd always downplayed, whispers of envy buried beneath layers of feigned affection. I saved screenshots of her questionable financial dealings and the very messages where she'd admitted to borrowing money, guilt spilling from her fingertips. To make my move, I needed to reach out to others. I contacted a family friend, Jenny, who had once been Claire's confidant. "Do you remember when Claire borrowed money from you?" I asked casually, planting the seed of doubt. Jenny hesitated, but I could sense her interest peaking. "It's odd, don't you think? How she seems to need money all the time." Within days, Jenny began questioning Claire, and the ripple effect was swift. Other family friends began to hear whispers, and soon enough, the rumor mill churned with stories about Claire's financial instability. It felt satisfying to watch her world begin to unravel, one thread at a time. Meanwhile, I found my own footing within my family's dynamics. Mark, ever supportive, stood by me as I navigated the fallout. "You're stronger than you know," he would say, his hand resting on my back as we faced the whispers together. I needed that reassurance. It reminded me I wasn't alone in this fight. But Claire wasn't just going to sit idly by while her reputation crumbled. She lashed out, using her charm and manipulative tactics to twist the narrative. "It's just jealousy," she told our parents, her voice a syrupy sweet tone that could have melted even the hardest hearts. "You know she's always been the favorite." As the walls began to close in on her, I made my next move. I decided to confront her directly. I invited her over, feigning a truce, but my true intentions were lurking beneath the surface. "Claire, let's talk," I said, forcing a smile as she stepped into my living room. The tension in the air was palpable, thick enough to cut with a knife. "About what?" she asked, crossing her arms defensively. "Are you going to try and convince me that you're the victim again?" "No," I said calmly, gesturing for her to sit. "I want you to understand something. This isn't about being a victim. This is about accountability." Her laugh was sharp, almost hysterical. "Accountability? You think you can hold me accountable? You have no idea who you're dealing with." I leaned forward, my voice steady. "I have all the evidence I need to expose you, Claire. Your lies, your theft, it's all documented. You've used our family for your own gain, and I won't let you manipulate us anymore." Her eyes darkened, a flicker of panic flashing across her face. "You wouldn't dare. Mom and Dad will never believe you." I met her gaze, unflinching. "They already have. The whispers are growing louder. They're starting to see you for who you really are." As the realization sank in, the room felt charged with unspoken threats. Claire's bravado wavered, replaced by a desperate anger. "You think you can just ruin my life because I made a mistake? You're twisted." "Twisted?" I echoed, feeling the heat of righteousness burn through me. "You've twisted our family's trust for years. You've hurt me, and now you'll face the consequences." I stood, determination propelling me forward. "This is just the beginning, Claire. You may have thought you were untouchable, but I'm coming for you. And I won't stop until you face the truth." With that, I walked toward the door, leaving her fuming behind me. It felt liberating to reclaim my power, to no longer be the victim in her twisted game. As I closed the door, I could almost hear the cracks forming in her carefully constructed world. In the weeks that followed, Claire's world continued to crumble. Her friendships faltered, and the once tight bond with our parents frayed under the weight of suspicion. My parents began to question her motives, and the shift in their perception was undeniable. Claire eventually confronted me again, this time in front of our parents. "You're ruining everything," she spat, her voice shaking with a mix of anger and desperation. "Why are you doing this to me?" "Because it's time for the truth," I replied, my voice steady. "You've hurt us all for far too long. You need to face the consequences of your actions." The confrontation reached a boiling point, and for the first time, I saw Claire stripped of her defenses, raw and exposed. Our parents stood between us, caught in a maelstrom of conflicting emotions. It was clear that the battle for our family's integrity had shifted. As the dust settled, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. I had stood up for myself, for the first time in years, and in doing so, I had reclaimed my life. But the war was far from over. Revenge had only just begun to unveil its full potential, and as I looked into Claire's eyes, I knew one thing for certain: the real reckoning was yet to come.